And we are live on the Icecast Live. You could almost make a song out of that, couldn't you?
We are live. Hi, Shane. How you doing, mate?
All right, mate. How you doing? Thank you for standing in while Ollie's busy scurrying around getting ready for Thought Bubble. Thank you very much. So just as a little look ahead to next week, Ollie's off to Thought Bubble. I'm probably off to MCM. And we're both going to come back, and next week we'll do a little review of those two events on the show, which should be fun.
Going off to Thought Bubble while he's supposed to be doing the show. You know what? If we didn't pay him, then we wouldn't be doing.
Yeah. That's where your argument falls, mate.
He's doing a Matt Hancock, isn't he? He's off. He should be doing his proper job. He's off having jollies in the Leeds, not the jungle.
It's not Leeds. Here. It's Harrogate now. Thought Bubble. It's up in Harrogate. Up north. It's up north. Yeah, it's not far from Leeds, Harrogate. Actually, it's only up the road, and it's a nice place. But it's not Leeds, is it?
I've never done Thought Bubble. Never done it. No.
Didn't you go with me one time? Didn't we go to Thought Bubble?
I thought you've never done it either.
No, I've exhibited many years at Thought Bubble, and then there was a big gap. But I've never been to the Harrogate one, so I do intend to go next year. But this year I just couldn't justify the expenditure. So MCM's like just up the road from me. It's in Birmingham. So I'll go there. There's a few friends there. We can have a few beers, talk about comics, come home, do another podcast, because I'm also appearing as a guest on the Awesome Comics podcast this Sunday. After I get back last week, didn't we? Yeah, we did. So I thought I'd return the favor and go on to his show, which is really nice. And those sort of collabs, we're going to be doing a couple of those. I've been talking to another possible guest who does a show. I'm not going to say who it is yet because we haven't 100% confirmed it, but he may be coming on as a guest on next week's show to talk about Thought Bubble. So that'll be nice. Podding. A mutual podding. Yeah, that doesn't sound right, but yeah. So I look forward to that. But this week on the show, we've got two proper comic creators who are working on a fantastic book called Shockwave without a C. I hasten to add, if you want to do an internet search for it, make sure you don't put in the C. Fantastic new anthology. And we're going to be talking to the creator, writer, and one of the artists, Mr. John A. Shaw and Richard Pester. And I'm really looking forward to talking to those guys. So let's play the video, mate, and let's get into it as quickly as we can.
Am I playing it or are you playing it?
You play it. Go on.
And go.
And welcome back to the Asscast Live. That sounded like I said Asscast. It's Icecast.
You did say Asscast.
That's
a whole
Freudian slip.
Different podcast.
It's not that.
We don't talk about that.
Welcome to the Icecast Live. My name is Shane Chemsey, and this is Comic Book Sam. And with us tonight are the amazing John A. Shaw and Richard Pester. Good evening, guys. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hey. And we have audio.
Yes.
Excellent. So what I failed to mention in the intro earlier was, of course, this is by Cult Creations. Cult Creations is your creation, isn't it, John? Your publishing house. How could we miss that with the banner in the background there?
It's like I'm at a convention in my living room.
That's it. That's what we try and do. I mean, sometimes I'll have a beer, and we try and get that sort of convention chat atmosphere going on the show.
We've come to your table and we're looking up at you because you're looking down and like going, "Oh, that looks into." It's like, it's weird.
And obviously, you've got all those books in the background as well, or CDs, or whatever it is.
CDs,
the CDs. You're like me, John. You don't throw away your CDs, do you? You keep them all. I'm just saying. We've talked about this before, haven't we? We like our physical media, don't we?
But to be fair, isn't it not as good as Richard's amazing curtains?
I know.
Look at that.
I've got some pajama bottoms.
Straight out of the 70s.
They're gorgeous. What are you on about? But the t-shirt.
I've actually had worse curtains than this before. I had 1970s ones that were brown with yellow and lemon daisies on them. So I decided to put them down and go with this one instead.
Were those the only design available in 1973? Because my mum had those curtains as well. Fantastic.
We used to have the Green Lady on the wall.
Oh yes. Is that the one where she's like, it's in the woods? She's like in these spooky woods.
No, I don't think you can see what's behind her, can you?
I try to remember. There was a painting that my nan had and my auntie had, and everyone seemed to have. And it was this lady, and she was like, it was like a 3/4 shot, and she had like old-fashioned sort of Edwardian clothing on, and she was in the woods. And I always remember thinking, what's going on there? What? She looks quite scared. I was assuming there was a werewolf involved, but that was just me putting my thing into the story. You know,
I've just googled Green Lady in Woods to show a picture.
We don't. That's probably not good to share on live.
No, I'm not putting that up.
No.
Oh, I've just be careful with everyone now.
No, I'm getting a lot of cosplaying elves and weird and anyway. No, let's not talk about that.
You know, that's.
But we do like your T-shirt though, Richard. Is that George Perez?
Yeah,
indeed. Yeah, it's my uncle bought me. He's the only guy that seems to know the kind of T-shirts that I like to wear. You know how people always buy you things that they think you might like, but you're always going to just chuck them at a charity shop or throw them in a drawer somewhere. My uncle Harry always is fully on the ball with these kind of things.
That's great. I mean, you're right what you say. Family members, they tend to get you things that, oh, you're a bit of a geek. I'll buy you a Star Wars mug. It's like, you know, it's like, oh, it could be something else.
I did love the Marvel Fanfare series though.
It was great.
Glossier, and there's an amazing Angel one with David Mazzucchelli, I think.
David Mazzucchelli.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some great first times for some artists in Marvel Fanfare. It was a great way of sort of highlighting new talent, which is, as a segue, what you do a lot, John, with Cult Creations. You have a lot of guys in there that we've not encountered before. Is that a really important part of it for you to introduce new talent?
Well, obviously you're always looking for artists who can put up with drawing your stuff. So
yeah.
But I mean, Shockwave is drawn by 4 artists that I've known for decades. So you can't really say that they're new guys or anything. No. Sorry, Richard. But I've known them all for there's 4 strips and each 10 pages long, so it's not your usual anthology comic. It's a chunky 40 pages of strips in it, and the reason I started thinking about it was that the artists, I've really wanted to do more stuff with these 4 guys for the longest time, but they're also busy. They're working on their own stuff. They're working on other people's stuff, and I knew that if I said, "Oh, how about a graphic novel?" that none of them were going to go, I got time to do that.
Yeah.
But if I said, "Oh, it's only 10 pages at a time, guys," that I could get them all involved, So we got Richard. I've known him since the 90s when we were doing the Octobriana comic, and he sent in artwork to it. I got his fanzines and stuff back then, and we've also got Chris Arscombe, who people will probably know for his Switchblade Stories comic that he's been doing recently.
Brilliant series, that.
Who's fantastic artist. I mean, he writes for himself, so you've got to step up your game for people who do writing as well. it would be embarrassing if you're giving them anything but the best work you can do. And David Hitchcock, of course, who I saw at conventions years and years ago and got all his stuff. And of course, I don't need to explain to you, Shane, who David Hitchcock is. Absolutely one of the best horror artists in the world, and the strip that we're doing in Shockwave together is a sequel to Nosferatu, the famous silent 1922 horror film. So he's doing, extraordinary,
beautiful stuff.
Really evil looking stuff on that. And
I love the way he draws Nosferatu.
I sounded him out. I'd had the idea years ago that wouldn't it be great to do a sequel to Nosferatu? And I saw him, just do an illustration of Nosferatu, and I put in the comments underneath, I said, it'd be great if you did a sequel to Nosferatu. And he privately messaged me and said, what is your idea then?
And he's ready for it.
So I thought I'd get him on board if I said, Nosferatu, Dave.
He loves it, doesn't he? It's right up his alley. Right up his alley.
Anything sinister and anything like that. Just give him the opportunity to draw some really grim stuff, and he's right there.
I remember when he did Madam Samurai for us, and I think you could tell that the pages with Jack the Ripper that featured in there, he absolutely excelled at that stuff.
He does love the gothic, doesn't he?
Yeah, the gothic, the gore, the eerie atmosphere, the steamy streets. He's just so good at that. The way he plays with light. He's a great storyteller. Great storyteller, David is.
And he loves detail as well. So some artists hate the detail. If you say, there's a bookcase and there's a lot of books on it over there, that artists go, oh really, must I draw the books? But Dave goes, right, book. Bookshelf.
All his favorite titles. He does revel in it, and it's a pleasure to work with him, isn't it, John?
And the other person is the other artist is Vincent Danks, who people might know from Harker and
Gravestown, which I just received actually.
And he's I worked with him years and years ago. It must have been the early 90s when we almost did a comic. I think it was for Trident, and he drew the first issue with Roger, them both on the art, and Roger Gibson, who he often collaborates with, and but Trident went bust, and so it never came out. And so it's probably 30 years I've known Vincent, and so and he's got a Kickstarter running at the moment with Time Bomb Comics for the fourth issue of Harker, which is him and Roger's detective series. So look that out if you like.
Another great book.
I should mention Chris Arscombe has got a Kickstarter running himself at the moment, which is an adaptation of a H.P. Lovecraft story.
I think I read on that.
Daemon. So look that out as well.
And I noticed that he's just added tones to it as well, because he was just going to do it straight black and white, wasn't he? But he decided, I think it was as a stretch goal, to add tones to it as well. And it looks really nice. Really nice.
One of the great things about Chris is that he doesn't seem to change his style a lot, but he can draw any type of strip, any type of story,
Yeah.
from horror to humor, and it somehow is just fits it, you know.
He's got one of those styles that he can sort of adapt it to whatever the genre requires or the story requires. He's so versatile, and it is a really distinctive style. I mean, you can tell Chris's work at a glance, can't you? And I love artists like that who have their own styles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been very generous, John, in promoting other people's books, and we commend you for that.
But let's have a look.
I tried to get them all on here, but
no, but that's great, because that's a big part of what the show's about. Obviously, is promoting people's books, and
let's have a look
good work.
At Shockwave.
Let's have a look. Yeah, lovely, and it's doing really well.
Yeah.
So, what was your goal? I can't quite read it because my eyes are old.
It was £1,000.
So you've gone well over, and you've still got over
17 days to go.
Wow,
that's excellent.
That's looking really good. Then it's definitely going to be happening. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll try to increase the size
with all the art done. It better happen now.
Yeah, it's too late now. We're drawing it. It's got to happen. Yeah, we're all in. So I don't know if we can play the trailer.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
We'll give it a go. Doesn't always work, but we'll give it a go. What's that cover? Great stuff. I've had some questions on the chat. I'm just going to go through. Should be cult creations go all out with the K's? Good idea, John. Too late. It's been
C. Yeah, the letter C is for wimps.
It's a bit late now.
Yeah, too late now. Another one from Lawrence. Hey, Lawrence. 40 years since original Shockwave. Good luck with it, guys. So this is a second volume, then, John.
Oh,
well, officially it's the third volume, really, because there was there were two volumes of Shockwave. I should explain to people that Shockwave was a strip zine that we did 40 years ago.
Richard's wincing there. How many years have gone by?
this new one is nothing to do with the previous Shockwaves. It's just the nostalgia of when we were teenies.
The four of you.
You know.
I've just tried Googling it, and there is no trace.
No trace. It's too old. It's older than the internet.
There's a lot of No, there's a DC comic from the 80s, I think, called
and of course
Shockwave, but that's all we're getting.
Yeah.
It's been erased.
I mean, it was when I was 17, I guess. A guy I knew from school called Nick Cox, and my brother, and Lawrence Allison, and a couple of other people, all got together, and we'd been reading things like 2000 AD and Warrior, particularly Warrior at the time. And we
what
said,
a great comic that was.
We want to be involved in comics. We want to create something in comics, and so I've got enormous nostalgia for when we did that original. There was 3 issues in the original volume of Shockwave, and it's you probably can't see because my camera's a bit crap, but the paper quality is just amazing.
Everyone who's in comics now had one of those things.
Yeah, of a certain age, everyone who likes comics,
I've certainly got a few of those.
Yeah.
Black and white, photocopied,
stapled by hand.
Yeah.
Well, this is much more flash than that. As I say, I don't think my camera can pick it up because it's a bit rubbish, but the paper quality is just amazing on this, and this is still white, despite the fact that it's 40 years old.
Wow.
It's really flash printing. I mean, this is irrelevant, and nobody cares about this. But
plastic or behind glass by now.
Yeah.
To be preserved properly.
Definitely, Richard. It's a
There's
museum.
comic historians out there that will actually lynch you for having it just as you're actually handling it without gloves on.
Where's the gloves? Yes.
They'll be wanting you to slap it next.
Oh yeah. What do you reckon? It was a 9, a 9.2.
9. I think it looks like about an 8.5. Actually, there's a bit of curling on the corner there. Who cares, eh? Couple more questions. Oh, one more question. Sam Farmworth. Hi, Sam. I know Sam. What's this? Okay, well, we're trying to answer that question for you over the next 20 minutes, Sam. It's
nice and vague there, Sam. Well done.
Yeah. It is a brand new anthology comic.
Are you sure it was meant for us? He was just texting,
what's this?
answering another person.
Yeah, but I think you'll like it, Sam, because when Sam came on, I think it was flashing up the trailer, and Sam's probably familiar with Dave Hitchcock's work. He probably saw the little flash of the Nosferatu, which probably perked Sam's interest because I know he's a vampire fan. Because if I remember correctly, he pledged on our Dracula project. So you could have a fan there, guys. Just let me know, Sam, if that was what perked your interest. I've lost my train of thought now. Pitching to Sam.
We've got another message.
Have we? No, we haven't. That's it. Or am I just late on the messages? We've already looked at that one, Sam.
Really?
Yeah, I was 14. That's Lawrence.
Usually I'm in the background.
I don't think he's saying R. He's saying
I'm in the background, so I don't usually have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you've known Lawrence, haven't you, for quite a while, John? You're old friends, aren't you? You worked together on the original Shockwave.
At least 40 years.
Yeah. And if you known you two known each other for the same amount of time? You've been working together?
No, as I say, I think it was the 90s when I and some other people were doing the Octobriana comic. I think that's when I first became aware of Richard and saw his art, and he's absolutely fantastic artist, and the strip that
my head might not fit through the door.
Do we have some examples on the Kickstarter page that we can show people?
I sent Sam various promo pieces, so I don't know if he can pick out
you got those,
pages of the Resistors.
He's got that
where
look
did you
on
send
his
it to
face.
me? Did you on a message or email?
I sent you a link, but
what did you email it to me?
No, I through Facebook.
Right. Okay.
Facebook messages.
I'll be back.
I think apparently Facebook has he's got a way to sort it out. Apparently Facebook has changed yet again, and it's confused Sam's poor little head. He came on. It's because Facebook has changed. What am I going to do? It's like, there you go. It happens to me all the time. So
Facebook's very much a case of if something's not broke, they'll fix it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that is very much the case with Facebook. I mean, just as it's working fine, they'll change it. So yourself, Richard, then, how did you sort of come into creating comics? Is it a lifelong thing from childhood?
I mean, it was always something I wanted to do as a child. My dad always encouraged that he always bought the kind of like American comics, but you know, back in the kind of mid-70s, you would never get a complete run of anything. So I've spent the last year trying to reassemble the comics I had, and it's just a case of buying 2 Green Lantern, maybe a Legion of Superheroes here and there, things that I actually had just because of, as John says, a nostalgia thing. But it wasn't until probably the late 80s I decided that, you know, I wanted to do comics. I went to art school and decided it wasn't for me, so I bailed from that and ended up drawing various small press things for my own amusement. Got picked up by a publisher that wasn't very kind to me and the writer at one point, so that kind of severed that, and then for a good number of years I ended up doing pin-up stuff for adult magazines, and then various adult magazines, just editorial stuff, and some fetish magazines published stuff as well, and then I think probably the kind of early 2000s I kind of gave it up through, you know, that whole thing that we all eventually succumb to, women. I was told to get a proper job.
Oh, really? All right.
And ended up in retail for a number of years, and it wasn't until I came back to Edinburgh from England in probably the late, I think it was 2008, 2009, and that was just shortly before I ran into John again at Bristol and got back into comics since then. So yeah, I mean, in fact, John doesn't know this, but I'd also semi-retired from comics right before he asked me to do this. So I've kind of I've kind of abandoned the kind of semi-retirement and gone back into this kind of gung ho style, because it's not so much a case of people saying, oh, you should do a comic about this, you should do a comic about that, and you see various projects here, there, and everywhere. And I'm at the age now where it's kind of like, yeah, well, it's not really that interesting. But John's one of these people that can do something in 10 pages that most people can't do in 40. So it's that kind of attraction. I read the outline of the Resistors thing, and I was hooked pretty much by the end of the first paragraph, really. While I was drawing the first section, I asked him about a character that appears in it, and he says, oh no, we're going to do more with that character. And I thought, well, okay, this is great. And then I got the second script. Was it last week? It was last week.
Something like
and
that.
I've started working that one because it's actually a lot of fun to do. He's actually, you give an artist something they're interested in drawing, they'll do their best work. And that's what John's strength is. He gives you things that you're going to be interested in drawing. So
that's nice, isn't it, John? Eh? I mean, is that your intention, John? Do you go out? Do you talk to artists? Do you say, what do you like to draw before you sort of write a script? Do you try and sort of cater for what their preferences are?
Nah.
So we just got lucky.
No. See, the thing is,
I'm back.
He's found the the stuff now. That's the logo for Chris's strip.
That's great.
On the that's a piece by David Hitchcock for Nosferatu 2.
Fantastic.
And here's a piece by Richard for Resistors.
Oh, and this is yours, Richard. Right.
Which we haven't explained is it's about a robot revolution in the near future, and there are lifelike human looking
sex robots. Oh yeah. Yes,
exactly.
So they're basically sex slaves, and they're revolting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I've tried to do with it is tell it from the ground up rather than a lot of people, when they're writing a fictitious society or whatever, they'll go, oh, who's the king, who's the president, or whatever. And I have tried to come in at the ground level and say, this is what it would be like if you were living in this society, rather than that kind of fairy tale storytelling that you see in a lot of stuff. So I mean, you can see how great Richard's art is, and I mean, what you were asking me before we found the artwork was, do I ask the artists about it? Well, these 4 artists I know well enough what they're really good at, and and I have aimed the strips. I haven't. All the artists are so good that you don't need to sort of steer them away from weaknesses in their art, but you know that they'll do their best work if you go, oh, he loves doing this stuff, and you just go towards that. It's what I was saying about David. If you tell him, oh, one of the pieces of artwork on here somewhere is David's splash page, and I said, oh, it's a shop for occult trinkets and stuff. It's a bit like Arkwright's shop out of Open All Hours, only it's all occult items, and I knew that if I gave him that, he'd go, right then.
You got to pander to the artists.
It's perfect. Can we find that, Sam? Can we find that bit of art if it's in this selection here?
What, Open All Hours?
No.
Okay.
That's
Vincent.
That's a page by Vincent Danks.
So was that in the some of them?
It is in there,
yeah.
It's
See if we can find it.
Page picture by David Hitchcock. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go through the pages and we'll talk about
it. Just go through the pages.
We'll talk about
and I'll tell you what they
next page.
Oh, I think I've got it. I think I've got it on here. Bear with me.
You're trying to be clever now.
No, I've lost you now.
He can jump straight.
I've got too many screens open.
Just go to the next page, mate.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is Vince.
That's a page from the strip I'm doing with Vincent Danks, and it's a revival of the first ever masked hero in comic books. He was called the Clock.
Yeah,
he first appeared in 1936 before Superman and Batman, and he's now public domain. And about 10 years ago, Vincent and I did a comic, a one-off comic of
I have a copy.
The Clock Strikes. And you can get that comic on the Kickstarter. It's as an add-on, but this is new material.
Yeah,
and he's just doing his best work on it. The best work I've ever seen.
This looks outstanding.
It is just fantastic. Look at that page.
I mean, that panel in particular, the shot.
And
it's so nice. It's so well put together, so well designed, so well realized. Really, really nicely designed. Really good stuff. I mean, I've been familiar with Vince's work for a while. I got the Clock, and I've been following his work with Roger. But this really does look like he's pulled out all the stops.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
I mean, it's a period piece, so I'm asking a lot of him. That you got to draw 1930s New York.
Yeah, he's having fun with it.
Yeah.
That's a lovely panel. That's absolutely good.
I like the panel where I think you put it up in one of the updates, John, where the clock's coming through a window.
Yeah, there is that clock. That page is on there. So that picture is on there somewhere. Okay. But
so what we've got next is
a beautifully drawn page with all the glass everywhere. It's really nice.
Oh, I can't wait to read it.
I've got the Dave Hitchcock.
Go for it.
There we go.
Yes, there you go.
Look at that.
Open all hours.
Wow.
Like you see, even got a mummy chained to the ceiling.
Yeah, that's great.
I did not ask him for that.
He just did it.
Yeah.
In the eye as well. The one eye staring.
It's brilliant.
That's gorgeous.
There's so much character in his work. It's fantastic.
Hitchcock short.
Oh, that's lovely. It's such a pleasure, isn't it? Because when you see something from Dave, especially when you've seen the script first, you see how much Dave puts in without any prompting whatsoever. It's so much storytelling in every image. It's absolutely fantastic. I love that. Just pan out a bit, Sam.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, just so we can see the whole image. That's lovely. It really is. Very reminiscent, actually, of that page of something like that Kev O'Neill might do. You know, for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Of course, we lost Kev, didn't we? Just a couple of days ago.
Gutted.
Very, very sad.
Yeah.
We've not done well, have we, for comic creators the last few weeks?
No.
Well, this year has
Pacheco died.
Carlos
as well,
Pacheco,
yeah.
A great loss. One of my favourite modern artists, Carlos was. Absolutely fantastic storyteller.
Avengers Forever.
Avengers Forever.
Is so good.
Fantastic Four, absolutely amazing. He did a great Green Lantern run. He just a great artist. And of course, the stuff he was doing with Kurt Busiek on recently as well was some of his best work. You know, it's just such a massive loss. But to lose Kev O'Neill like that at such a young age, what was he, 69?
Yeah,
no age, is it? Such a shame. Such a great.
Looking forward to. He had some new stuff as well in 2000. He did Bongo with Garth Ennis, and
just really sad, really sad. But when you have an artist like Dave who carries on the traditions, shall we say, it makes you very happy that you can see that these great artists have had a massive impression on other artists, and they live on through that. You know, it gives you a little bit of comfort at least. But that's a lovely page, John. It really is.
Well, like I say, if you give artists what they want to draw, then they'll do their best work, you know. But it's not something I asked people about, as Richard will attest. I didn't say, well, what strip would you like to, what would you like in this strip? But I kind of knew, and you play to people's strengths if you can.
Of course you do.
And Richard is such a slick and sexy artist, if you don't mind me saying so.
Slick and sexy. Do you get called that often, Richard?
Not often, no. I think this is the first time.
There you go.
That's without the beard being trimmed as well.
You heard it first here on the Icecast Live. Richard is officially slick and sexy.
Well, with curtains like that,
yeah. Well, there you go. Oh, dear. Next page, Sam. Let's move on.
There we go.
So we've got a little look at each strip. So, I mean, you really have got the cream of the crop here, John. I mean, my decision to sort of back this and get involved was just seeing who was involved. You really have got amazing artists.
I do think that I've got there's a full page of Richard's strip there. It's can I ask Richard something about, because I haven't actually talked to him in years, but you explain to me, you actually make the backgrounds in 3D on the computer, is that correct?
Yeah, I use Lightwave to create 3D models. I had to spend more time trying to light the damn models, and then once you get a render of the background, you've then got to try and fit the figures in there somehow. But because it's such an archaic PC that I'm using, the models are never actually perfect, so you've actually got to go in and fix a lot of them as well. So it's what seemed like a really good idea at the start. Quickly became something of a chore later on, because of the amount of fixing that you have to do with the backgrounds.
But are you drawing the figures by hand?
Yeah.
Wow.
So then you've got to put them in your 3D background.
Yeah.
That's good labor saving, is that not? Does it actually take longer to do that, Richard, or is it about the same?
My weakness has always been backgrounds. Always. I've always struggled with backgrounds, and you think, well, I'll just have a blank background here. And on that particular page, there's one panel that doesn't have a background, and it's actually really bothering me now.
Too late. It's on there now. Everybody's
thing
seen
is,
it.
when you have the 3D model, it gives you more scope on where to place things and how to actually orchestrate how everyone interacts with each other and where everything is. So it's like playing the Lego. I mean, if I could build the stuff out of Lego and use that as a reference, I'd do that, but I just don't have the time to do that. I spent days actually trying to figure out. I spent days trying to figure out how to get light to shine through a window in a model I've just built for the second part. It drove my wife nuts because I was up here for hours shouting and swearing at the computer. And she was like, "Why are you shouting and swearing at the computer?" I says, "Because it won't do what I want it to do."
So do you use the 3D modeling as a guide to draw it, or are those actual pictures?
No, those are
3D
actual.
modeling?
I have a kind of plugin that I made for Lightwave specifically to give everything that kind of look. So it's primarily the problem with the 3D model is to get the lines going around everything. Everything has to have a name. So if you have a cube, that's 6 names. If you have 6 cubes, every cube side has to have a different name. So if you make a mistake in one of the names, trying to find it again is, well, you're something better starting from scratch again.
Yes,
yeah.
I
So
think I'd rather draw it.
It's all about the filing, definitely.
Yeah. Every edge, every line has to have a name, and that's the headache about it. But once it's done, I kind of like the way it looks. And when you see the second part, you'll see that it looks far, far better than the first part.
Because I suppose you're sort of learning as you go as well how to manipulate it and how to make it work.
Yeah, well, this is the first time I've done a color strip as well. I've never done work in color before.
Wow.
This was I actually thought it was black and white, and then I looked at the thing that John sent me, and I was like, "Oh, it's in color! Oh, great!
Thanks."
So by the time you reach page 10 out of the, when you get from page 1 to page 10, by the time you reach page 10, you've got the techniques, the coloring techniques, so you're faster than you were in page 1, but then it's over. So now I know what I'm doing. The second part should actually be a bit quicker to finish than the first. So now that I have the techniques, that I kind of think of what I'm not doing.
I think what you're doing, the style, it really does lend itself to the story. It's got that sort of sterile, sort of otherworldly, futuristic look to it that really does complement, the subject matter, and it's great. I really like it. Some very deliberate choices there.
The second part's set in a fairly grubby, run-down place, and it's a complete opposite of what you're seeing there.
So you've had to sort of start again almost with how you're going to show the backgrounds then if it's different.
It's just another problem to solve, and that's half the fun with these kind of things. It's not just a case of drawing a strip. It's a case of when there's an issue that comes up and you find a way around it, you find a way to solve it, then it's all the more satisfying when you finish it up.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's great. Listen, great. Thanks for sharing these images with us, by the way, guys, because it's obviously we're aware that we're seeing quite a lot of the comic here. Now we've got some stuff here from. This is obviously Dave Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Is this the other cover? Is it, John?
Yes. This is the Kickstarter exclusive cover.
Nice.
There's the version with the
trade dress.
Yeah. So there's a Virgin cover and a trade dress cover.
There's the one cover is by Chris Arscombe, and that's like that's the main one, isn't general cover.
That's really nice.
Be still available after the Kickstarter is over, but
that one
version that's
I love that cover. It's so bold. Fantastic.
What I wanted to do is give the artists an opportunity to sort of dip into other people's strips. So both the covers are Nosferatu 2 covers, but one is by David Hitchcock, who's actually doing the Nosferatu strip, and the other one's by Chris, who's
Beautiful.
doing a strip called Anarchy in for Shockwave. And future issues, each issue will be one of the strips, but it'll have the artist, hopefully, fingers crossed, the artist that is doing the strip and one of the others jumping in to do the alternate cover.
That's a great idea. So, I mean, that was one of my questions that you've answered there, I think, is that this is going to be a continuing anthology then, John?
That's the plan. Stories? That's the plan.
Fantastic. And are we going to be keeping the same 4 strips, or are they going to some are going to alternate?
Again, that is the plan.
Yeah. This is indie comics, we know.
For the most part, that depends on the artists. As long as they all want to continue to be involved, it'll be those 4 strips. And that is the plan. We'll keep doing it as long as we can.
I mean, I think you've got a really strong audience there for these. I mean, all of these guys have got fan bases for a start, which is good. Because you're going to get support from the people who love the art, and obviously you've got your own really solid fan base at Cult Creations. So I think put all that together, I think you've got something really solid and sustainable there that will hopefully be with us for quite a while. I know I'll certainly be supporting it as long as it's about, because I love all of these artists. They're all so
and
good.
Will the paper quality equal the 80?
No.
Of course not. It's just not the same. So you're offering as well, we'll go through this now as we're looking at it, some old stuff that you've published before. I noticed the Armageddon Wars there.
That's some posters that we've got some A3 posters
nice.
there, which
go on, Sam, find them.
That's a
John's gone there. I'll put you on full screen just so we can.
That's the A3 Nosferatu posters. There are 4 A3 posters on there, is in some of the rewards.
Excellent.
But by David Hitchcock and Vincent Danks. So that's on there, and that's there. And David's original cover art is available, which I believe is still
available.
It's still not been sold yet.
Wow.
So
I think there might be somebody watching this show who might be tempted by that. I just suspect.
There we go. 200 pledge 200 or more for the original A3 black and white art by Dave Hitchcock.
That's a bargain. That really is a bargain for that beautiful artwork. And I'm really intrigued by the other characters, how he's interpreted them at the bottom there. It's sort of like, oh, these are interesting characters. There's more to this than just, what we got with the original film, which was pretty much a short, very, basic plot. It seems that you've got ideas to take it in another direction, John.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've literally been thinking about most of these strips for decades. So, but so one of the things I've been watching on Nosferatu is its copyright situation, because it had to be public domain for me to get my hands on it, and there was a question mark over some territories until the 100th anniversary happened, and we passed the 100th anniversary this April, when it was 100 years from when it originally came out. I encountered some people recently who I said, I'm doing a sequel to Nosferatu, and they said, what's that? Which I was a bit surprised by. So if you don't know, Nosferatu was the the first try at a film adaptation of Dracula. In 1922. They didn't have the rights, and Bram Stoker's widow sued them and won. And they were told to destroy all the prints of it, but luckily some survived. So you know, we still have, it's not a lost film as a lot of films were from the time. It still exists, and you can see it on YouTube now because you know it is public domain now.
I'm still not putting it up just in case.
Go away if you don't know Nosferatu. Go away and watch it, please.
But you know, if you saw some
you would have seen
famous images from
so famous
of the Dracula character who's called Orlok in the movie. You would know, you'd go, oh, that, even if you haven't seen it.
It's just so, it was Max Schreck, wasn't it? And it was so distinctive, and so distinctive, in fact, that loads of other movies have copied it. I mean, most notably for me was Salem's Lot, the vampire in that. Just struck me as
it's just iconic, isn't it? You would have seen it and go, oh, that's where that's from. It's one of the things is in public, you know, in your consciousness, but
and
you
it's
don't
where
usually know where it's from.
The whole thing about vampires being destroyed by sunlight comes from Nosferatu.
Because that was how they managed
invented that.
For the film. Yeah, because Dracula was never killed by sunlight originally, was he? That's
no. They say that he doesn't go about in daytime, but they don't say, oh, it would kill him if he was in direct sunlight.
And yet that came that stuck. You know, I mean, I've been educated a lot about Dracula actually over the last year or so. Dacre Stoker has very kindly educated me about a lot of the history of Dracula and of Bram Stoker, and it's fascinating. It really is, and the things that the movies all get wrong is uncountable. It's incredible. There we go. Thanks, Sam. Just recently published by yours truly, Dracula.
This is absolutely gorgeous, Shane. Honestly, it's amazing.
A lovely bit of work. It is. I'm very proud.
David and I have really lent into the differences between where Nosferatu is its own separate thing from Dracula. So we've tried to emphasize the things that make Nosferatu an individual property, in the way that Watchmen is not the Charlton Heroes.
Definitely. That's a good comparison. I like that, because obviously they were completely based on them, but a total different entity, which, and arguably, and I think most people would agree, surpassed, the original concepts. So
Squadron Supreme is better than the Justice League of America.
I think you might be in the minority there, Sam. Although I did like the remake. I did like the it was JMS, wasn't it, that wrote the revisit of Squadron Supreme, or Supreme Power as they called it. I thought that was
quite the 80s Mark. The 80s Mark Grunwald.
Originally, but I think it was JMS who did the return and called it Supreme Power. That was good. I really enjoyed that, and it was Gary Frank on the art, which helped as well. Who strangely enough then turned up on the new Watchmen stuff. Oh, it's all linked, isn't it? It's the same people drawing everything. So we are going towards the end of the show now, guys. It's gone pretty quick, and I've really enjoyed this little chat. We haven't always talked about what we should be talking about, but that's all right. That's part of the fun.
It's our ramble chat, isn't it?
That's all we do. Yeah, we just chew the fat. We talk about stuff, and we have a bit. And we go down memory lane and all that sort of stuff. So before we do go, guys, obviously you're on Kickstarter. Would you like to tell our viewers where they can find you if they want to find out more about your work?
Yeah, well, as we've said, it's on Kickstarter at the moment, so do go and have a look. And you know, if you just want the digital copy, then it's you know, it's only £3. So
Yeah. Wow.
so it starts at a really low level, and you know, it's 40 pages of comic strip. You know, go and have a look, or look up Cult Creations with 1K.
Just 1K, John.
No C.
No C. So yeah, Cult Creations. And do you have a website, Richard, of your own promoting your work, or
no? Like I said, I mean, I pretty much just retired from the whole thing. But you know, the John doing this is just something that I'm enjoying doing. So if anyone's interested, then this is where to see his stuff.
Yeah, this is where to find you. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, guys. I would say best of luck with the campaign, but you've nailed it already. You smashed it. So
do you have any
3 days, something it
stretch
took
goals?
Sorry, Richard.
I think it only took 3 days to get the initial goal. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Which was really quick. It really surprised me. I was very, very, very impressed, very happy with that. So,
to be honest, I'm not surprised, because you know what a great bunch of creators, you know, and Cult Creations has a great track record of delivering really high quality books on a regular basis. So, I think, you know, I'm actually not that surprised that it did so well so quickly.
And a very reasonable price for the
and a really reasonable
one.
price, yeah. And I suspect it's going to probably double where you're at now, you know, before the end. So, congratulations, guys.
All right, thank you very much.
We will see you again.
Thank you very much for having us here.
Very good, guys. Right,
it's been our pleasure. Have a good night.
You too.